I am running for Tom Green County Clerk. Just a little bit about me. I am a native of San Angelo. Actually, we moved here when I was 10 years old. My parents wanted a better opportunity for us. I've been here, like I said, since I was 10 years old. I am bilingual in English and Spanish. As a matter of fact, when I started school, I didn't know any English. I was 6 years old. So by the time I was bilingual, I was probably maybe 7 or 8 years old. So it took me a couple of years. Also, I am a Christian conservative Republican. Also, sorry, I graduated from Central High School. And I did also graduate from Angelo State University with a bachelor's in business management back in 1995. It's been a while ago. Also, we do own a family independent car dealership since 2010. We did survive COVID. Actually, the last couple of years were tough. I was just going over some sales reports with my son earlier, which last couple of years did hurt. So, also, I am pro-life. That's another important thing. I do have experience with our business. I do a lot of our QuickBooks, keeping up with our books, maintaining our financial records. So I prepare reports that are due for local entities, like for the county, also for the state, and also internal monitoring of all our files because we do get audited by the state also. And I do also have, is that it? Okay, I'll pick up.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christina Ubando, and I'm currently your county clerk. And I am running for my position. This is going to be my first election. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised right here in Tom Green County by my grandmother. I have two children. My son's name is Christian, he's 18. My daughter is Alicia, she's 13. So I began my career here at the county clerk's office in 2012. Within that department, from 2012 up until 2017, I floated around the office and I was able to learn the positions, each and every position in this office. 2017, I became the chief deputy of this position of the county clerk's office. In 2019, I had the opportunity to be a court administrator for court of law 2. With that, I gained a whole lot more knowledge, of course, on the probate and the guardianship side. And you have to remember that in this position, you're not only going to have one judge, but you're going to have two judges, new judges, coming into this field. So you want to have somebody that already knows the position. You want somebody that's going to be able to help get them integrated into our system. While I was in the clerk's office, we continued to go to annual conferences for probate academy for clerks alone, just county clerks indefinitely. You had all your knowledge, and I'm so grateful for my predecessor's knowledge that she gave me, because without her I wouldn't be here. I truly appreciate my predecessor. So other than that, I would appreciate your vote.
Okay, are we good?
Picked it up, but I was loud enough already.
Okay, County Court at Law has two candidates. We'll start with Mr. Graves.
Good evening. My name's Andrew Graves, and I'm here to ask for your vote for Judge of County Court at Law number 2 here in Tom Green County, Texas. Now, a little bit about me is I grew up here. I'm a Concho Valley native. I grew up with a family of educators here. And after I did my stint getting out of law school, I went and started as an assistant district attorney in the Tarrant County DA's office in Fort Worth. But after I did that, I came back here, and I've gained valuable experience handling all the things that this court handles. And that's the important thing to keep in mind here, folks, is this is about experience. This is about qualifications. It's just like Ms. Ubando said, what she just said. Christina said it. She just said it's about having the person in that position who knows what he or she is doing. And there's not going to be a learning curve there. And you folks need to understand this court does handle criminal cases. I have extensive experience handling criminal matters. However, I also have experience handling the things that you as voters are going to end up in front of this judge and this court for. You're going to end up in front of this court on a probate matter, or helping somebody with a guardianship, or handling a lawsuit in a civil matter. And those are the things that I'm the only candidate who has experience handling. It's for those reasons that I did gain the endorsement of the San Angelo Police Officers PAC. It's for those reasons that I'm asking for your endorsement. I'm asking for your vote for County Court at Law number 2. Early voting starts on Valentine's Day, but also Election Day is March 1st. Thank you very much. Thanks, sir.
Hello, my name is Leland Lacey. I was born and raised here in the Concho Valley. I went to school in El Dorado, Texas for the last 2 years of high school. My family has a ranch right down the road here on Tonell Trail. After that, I went to ASU for a year and a half. From there, I transferred to Texas A&M, got my undergraduate degree. From there, I went to law school at Texas Tech. And for the last 15 years, I've been serving all of you here in Tom Green County. The first 7.5 years in the DA's office doing felonies, the last 7.5 years in the county attorney's office, in the court I'm running for handling domestic violence prosecution. While I was at the DA's office, I went to a wedding in Waco for some law school friends of mine, and I asked a pretty bridesmaid to dance. And her name is Laura Lacey. We got married in 2009, and we're still dancing. We've been blessed with 2 little boys, Lane is 10 and Luke who's 7. While I've been serving y'all for the last 15 years, whenever I decide whether or not to take a case, it's based upon the oath I took as a prosecutor. And that is, am I seeking justice? Not whether somebody's going to pay my fee. Throughout my time in the courts and my time on daddy duty, I've learned that whether it's boys in a squabble or parties in a suit, both sides want to be heard and be given a fair shot. I'm your guy. As far as a platform, the courts have gotten pretty backed up from COVID over the last 2 years. Not from anything the judges have done, but just all the rules that have been placed on us. You're going to need a hard-working judge with honor and integrity to get in there and work hard and get things unclogged. My name's Leland Lacey, and I'm asking for your vote for County Court at Law number 2.
Okay, now we are to county judge.
Good evening, and it's wonderful to see everybody. For those of you that do not know me, I'm Lane Carter. I'm a lifelong resident, 34 years of Tom Green County, and I'm running for county judge. I was a graduate of Central High School in 2006, a graduate of ASU in 2010 with a bachelor's degree in biology and a bachelor's degree in 2011 in nursing. I started my working career at age 14 with the lawn service and grew that to a successful business all the way through high school and college. Gave that up whenever I became an RN in 2011. Worked in the ER at Community until 2013, and then the OR at Shannon as a registered nurse in surgery. 2016, I was elected to the San Angelo City Council and had a wonderful time serving. I have a servant's heart. That's exactly why I'm running for Tom Green County Judge as well. The same reasons that I ran for City Council is the same reasons that I'm running for county judges, to make a difference. We tackled issues and made huge strides during that entire time. Water, streets, drainage, our fire department, our police department, and economic development. All of those, you can also say that you can transfer that over to this position. On council, water rights, we have water now for the city of San Angelo until 2070, that's 50 years, because we bought the Ford Ranch, deemed the rights over, and resold it to break even. Our street program, we are slowly but surely getting there. Our bond issuances are taking care of that. College Hills was in my district in District 5, and it's coming up. Bell Street's taken care of. I was advocate for our fire and police departments to give them raises. Same thing for our sheriff's departments and our jailers. They need raises because their retention rates are horrible. We have interstates, 2 of them coming through this county in the next 30 to 40 years. Now is the time to prepare for that, and you need someone in there with the experience to do so. I'm Lane Carter, and I appreciate your vote March 1st and Valentine's Day through the 25th for early voting for county judge. Thank you.
Hyde, and I didn't grow up in the Concho Valley, but I lived in Dove Creek. My kids grew up here in the Christoval ISD school district. I know a lot of the things that y'all deal with because I've dealt with it. A little trivia, my daughter Shelby was the Cougar, Charlie the Cougar, for 4 years in college. And she's the one that set up the Charlie the Cougar Facebook page. So if Charlie the Cougar's still friends with you, that's why. But anyway, there's a whole lot of reasons to run for county judge. But the thing I'm going to throw an issue out I'd like to talk about, because I know you're going to get bored hearing people say, vote for me, vote for me. How many of you out here in Christoval are happy with your internet access? Anyone? Will they raise your hand? One person? I'm not happy, okay. You're happy.
I have BGI, it works great.
It does work great.
One of the things that's going to happen, over the next 4 to 8 years is there's going to be a lot of money coming out of the Washington, D.C. area because we have Joe Biden paying for all this broadband internet. The governor's going to get $100 million to distribute amongst the 254 counties to fix broadband internet. The second thing that's already here is we already heard Commissioner Ford talk about the ARPA funds. Some of that money has to be dedicated to, or can be dedicated toward broadband internet. I don't see why in the 1930s we could run a wire that provides electricity to every house in the county. Why can't we run fiber to every house in the county? And we need to set up the situation or the infrastructure where we can do it. I got a little expertise on that. Anyway, Joe Hyde, I'm running for Tom Green County Judge, and I want to talk about broadband internet. I hope y'all ask some questions about it.
Well, thank you, Christoval, Texas, for having us out. My name is Todd Coles, and I'm running for county judge. I was raised in San Angelo, graduated from Central High School in 1998, went off to college for a few years, ended up receiving my graduate gemologist degree from the Gemological Institute of America. I own a jewelry store in the bottom floor of the Cactus Hotel downtown San Angelo. Me and my wife have run this jewelry store for the past 10 years together. I have a servant's heart. I have served on just about every board San Angelo has to offer. And I eventually was able to start telling people no, that I can't serve on that board. But I have served on the Better Business Bureau, the YMCA, Downtown San Angelo Helping Hands, and most recently the City of San Angelo Development Corporation. Now, what the City of San Angelo Development Corporation does is it takes your tax dollars and it turns those tax dollars into economic development for the city. That is almost exactly what the county judge's position does. It takes your tax revenues and it turns them around and puts them back to work for you for most of the things that the state of Texas tells us we have to have. 80% of the county's revenues are spent by Austin before we really get a hold of them. Okay, we are going to have a county jail. We are going to have a county sheriff's department. We're going to have a county courthouse. We have to spend that money. Now, we get to play with 20% of that money gets to go back into the county, mainly into the rural areas. Okay, that is through your county commissioners. Okay, now why is it important to have a county judge that can understand people? Because communication is key. You have to be able to communicate with those county commissioners, and those county commissioners have to be able to communicate with one another. I am Todd Coles, and I'm asking for your vote.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming out to hear us jibber jabber up here. I think there is some importance to meeting your candidates and getting to know them. I'm Tommy Usry, running for Tom Green County Judge. A little background about myself. I'm married, Patricia. She said back there, my wife. We have 2 adult children and 2 grandsons. I grew up here in San Angelo, went to Lakeview High School, Angelo State University, was on the San Angelo Police Department for about 10 years, was on the Texas Department of Public Safety as a highway patrol trooper for about 10 years as well. And so after I got about 20 years in law enforcement, I left, went to Houston, went to law school, and I've come back in the last several years. I've been practicing law for 26 years now. I see myself as a servant in community service. I've much enjoyed my life serving my community. It's very important to me. I'm the only candidate of the four of us that are running that can go in on day one and begin doing the county judge's business. That is, the judge provides about 60% of his time doing administrative things, budget and those sorts of things, which is all very important, but also is required to spend about 40% of his time doing judicial function, including hearing cases that affect people's rights, privileges, and responsibilities under the law. I'm the only candidate that's ready to do that. I ask you for your vote and look forward to working with all of you down here in Christoval to help you solve the problems that you each have here, primarily with the water issues and with the park. Those things need to be gone through. The water issue obviously is a critical thing, and I look forward to working with the Commissioner's Court in an effort to get that solved as quickly as we can. Thanks.
Okay, we have arrived at county commissioners. Everybody want to take a deep breath? We're almost about halfway. Okay. All right. Mr. Barton.
Hello, Christoval. It is good to be back in Christoval. I always like being in Christoval. My name is Dustin Barton, and I'm a candidate for Tom Green County Commissioner, Precinct 4. I grew up here. Born in San Angelo, raised in Knickerbocker. Went to that school, went to one of the first classes to ever go to school up on the hill, and graduated from Christoval High School in 1991. I did leave for my first little bit. I went to Charleston State University. Thought I was going to be a football star. Didn't work out. Fat and slow really doesn't make football players. Came back, graduated from Angelo State University, left again, and went to Beaumont. If you've ever lived in Beaumont, you know why I got back really quickly. I worked for the Texas Youth Commission for 9 months. Fantastic, great job, but it was not being in Tom Green County. Pretty much all this time I have been in Precinct 4, except for the 2 years and 9 months I did leave. For the last 24 years, I've been working for Tom Green County Juvenile Probation. Another fantastic job in service to my community. Working for the Juvenile Probation Department, you learn to hustle, and you learn to work around a lot of little snafus that involve money. You have to work through budgets, and most of the time we were connected to a TxDOT budget back in the old days for us to get any money. TxDOT would connect us on something and give us money on their deal where they're building the bridge, building the highway, and within a few years they were done. They were trying to sunset their bill so they could move the money somewhere else, and we're sitting there still wanting that grant money so we can keep programs going. But being in this area, this is a lifelong passion for being in Precinct 4. My wife is an educator. My parents are educators. My parents are actually educators here at one time, both of them. We're still in Precinct 4. My parents are still in Precinct 4. My mother writes books about Precinct 4. We're not going anywhere, and we're here to serve you. And on March 1st or February 14th, go on Valentine's, go on a date, and go vote. And I'm asking for your vote on February 14th until March 1st. Thank y'all.
Welcome to Christoval. I lived down here 20 years. Born and raised in San Angelo. Went to Central High School, graduated from there. Went to the University of Texas. Ended up in Houston for a while. And came back in San Angelo in 1982. And that's where I finally got married. Finally took it serious. But the big thing about me is I've always been servants in some way. Scoutmaster, board of West Texas Boys Ranch, school board in San Angelo. I've done a whole lot of all these things and continue to do those things. And when I was appointed to this job 10 years ago, I took it with reservation. But when I found out that it fit my mold of a contractor and a construction and dealing with people and communication, all these things fit real easy, and it's been it's been a good job. It's been a good thing for me, and I think it's been a good thing for the county. Now, when we have issues, I take them pretty serious, and y'all know I do take it real serious, and I make sure that we try to finish things and do them right. We couldn't finish a lot of things because of COVID. We couldn't finish some things because of the prices went up so bad because of COVID. So we stopped construction on the areas that we couldn't afford to lose all the grant money on. So we've got back into it now, and thank goodness we have a Little League that did a fantastic job, and I cannot wait till that February 14th game. Oh, they say we vote, huh? And so I've been watching them practice out there, and it's really fun to watch. And so I didn't think I'd ever see it, but we're doing the softball field, we're doing the roads, we're doing the parking lot, and we're getting it all ready. So y'all come out and be ready. And I am Bill Ford, your current and future Tom Green County Commissioner.
Good job.
Hello, I want to thank you all for the invite to this forum. My name is Derek Garnett. I'm a believer in Christ, a husband, a father, a wildlife biologist, a real estate broker, and a board member of Rush Street Ministries. My family and I have lived in Precinct 4 for about 15 years, with the last 8 years in Knickerbocker. I have strong libertarian and conservative values, and I believe a small, limited government is much better for the people of this county, state, and country than the large behemoth we have now. Freedom is constantly under attack with the push for security. Have you ever noticed how freedom and security are always fighting against each other? As one gains ground, the other loses ground, and vice versa. Security results in countries like Venezuela and China. I want to fight for freedom. I've decided to run for county commissioner because I believe the county is the last line of defense against the federal and state governments and the unelected bureaucrats that seem to have an unending desire to control all of our lives. I'd like to be a roadblock to further expansion by government. By being a commissioner, I would have the opportunity to promote a responsible fiscal budget for the county activities. I would like to see the ad valorem taxes reduced, and the only way to accomplish that is by reducing the spending of the county or increasing revenue. There are requirements that the county must meet as directed by the state, but how much pushback is there when it causes the budget increase and in turn property taxes to rise? I support law enforcement, and with the new facility here we have obligations to meet. Roads and bridges are essential for commerce and daily functions of the people of this county and must be maintained. Tom Green County has a $50 million budget. I'll admit cutting the budget, mainly due to state law, could be tough. But let's remember where the money comes from, the taxpayer, the one that elects us to be in this position, the one that wants the most bang for their buck, and the one we should be looking out for.
Hello, my name is Sean Nanny. I've lived in this precinct for 29 years now. I first fell in love with this little corner of the county while I was working my way through college at ASU. It amazes me how three communities, being Christoval, Knickerbocker, and Dove Creek, can be separate yet so unique. But they always come together for the common good. And the common good I'm most familiar with is the school district. I've spent the last 12 years on the Christoval ISD Board of Trustees as part of a team that has accomplished many great things for the students, the school itself, and for these three communities as a whole. I will always cherish my time spent on the board, but I firmly believe in term limits and allowing new people with fresh ideas to take over. That's why I'm running for county commissioner. It's time for a change. It's time to use my knowledge and experience at a new level to benefit these communities and this part of the country, of the county that I love so much. It's time for a commissioner that doesn't talk down to the taxpayers. It's time for results, not excuses. Thank you.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for the Christoval Chamber for hosting this event. My name is Coco Simpson, and I am your candidate for Precinct 4 Commissioner. Through the past couple years, I've had the opportunity to serve this community in so many different ways. I've worked with quite a few of you in this room now, and I hope the rest of you have only heard my name in good context. Since our time is limited today, instead of talking about the things I have done, I would rather discuss the things I'm going to do. I've had a career in management. I have a master's degree in business from Angelo State, and I'm now a small business owner in the tax world. I have the business acumen and the accounting proficiency to make the most of our $55 million budget. Being a current member of the Leadership San Angelo class this year, a member of the San Angelo Chamber of Commerce, the Christoval Chamber, and numerous other clubs that I've been involved with throughout the year, I have the relationships and the network developed already to make a difference starting on day one in our county. I also bring a diversity of thought to the court that will challenge the groupthink that's gone on for far too long. We need to think outside the box to accomplish our goals, but we don't need to throw away our tried and true processes that we know work. The other day, Bill said that he felt like he was playing 5-on-1, and I can understand why he said that, because there are in fact 5 of us running for the job because many people feel that it's not getting done. Vote for me, and I will get Pew Park finished. I will find a permanent legal solution to Mineral Wells Crossing. I will, I'm going to replace our single health authority with a board because no one needs to go through 2020 again. I'm also going to change Commissioner's Court to a different day that's not concurrent with city council meetings because no one needs to have to choose. There are so many things that I will get done, guys. You've got to vote for me to get it done, though. Thank you very much, and Coco Simpson.
Good evening. Thank you so much. Is this on? Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for taking time from your schedules to come out tonight to listen and to learn. I'm Lori Wilson. I've been planning for the last 5 years to be your candidate and your next commissioner. This all started back in 2017 when I was first appointed to the board of directors in the Dove Creek subdivision. I'm currently on my 3rd elective term out there. I believed the best way to serve our owners was for me to start attending Commissioners Court meetings so that I could become informed. I could know what might be happening that was going to affect our owners, and so that I could start building relationships with the people that made those decisions. It didn't take long once I started going and attending to realize that when you have a county the size of Tom Green, you really need and deserve a commissioner that is committed full-time to the job. That's been my plan from the very beginning. I'm at the point in my life I'm no longer a business owner. I no longer have to work a job for other employers where I am committed or responsible to them. I am available, and this has been what I have said since last summer when I first publicly announced, I am ready to be your full-time, all the time, all for you commissioner. If you are wanting someone that is able and committed to stay on top of things, not drop the ball, pay attention to the details, do whatever research is necessary for you, you want to vote for Lori Wilson. If communication is important to you, you want accurate, timely, easily accessible information, you want to vote for Lori Wilson. If you want your voice heard in Commissioners Court, in the meetings and planning stages before that, with other stakeholders in the community, and yes, even in Austin, I have plans for that. You want to vote for Lori Wilson. I am here to serve you all the time, all for you, and I would very much appreciate your vote.
Okay, the first question is from Christina Romano, and it says, when you were appointed, didn't you tell the court you would end the turnover in the clerk's office? Have you done this?
There's always going to be a turnover in any operation. Anytime anybody's come into the office, it may not be for them. There may be another opportunity elsewhere. I encourage my staff, if it's going to better suit you for the future, I have your back. I want you to succeed. So there may be a little bit of a turnover, but we've also went down a staff member because it was a vacant position that was vacant for, I want to say 11 months, never used. So we didn't need it anymore. But I'm all for bettering yourself. If it's not in my office, yes, I encourage my staff to go elsewhere. If I can't pay them what they deserve, that's how it's going to happen.
Thank you. All right, I got this part. Letter of the law versus spirit of the law in youth cases.
Juveniles when it comes to letter of the law versus spirit of the law because of their youth.
Okay, I think I got that, and I'll take a stab at this and then let you clean me up here. So letter of the law versus spirit of the law. The judge's role, as everybody knows, when someone takes and dons the black robe and goes in front of a courtroom, he or she is to rule on the law. It's not to legislate from the bench. It is to rule on the law based upon the facts that are in front of them and to make those decisions and to basically be a referee. But as far as the question regarding juvenile cases, we both have extensive experience handling juvenile cases, both as prosecutors and myself as handling defense attorney cases. I also have quite a bit of experience handling child protective services cases, and sadly, those cases, we have kiddos, so many of them, they don't go home to two parents and a hot meal. A lot of our juvenile kids don't do that. And so to answer your question, there is a need for a recognition of when a kiddo needs a bit of compassion and when the system needs to work for the benefit of that kid so that we don't see them as they become adults. Is that
concerned with the kid that gets in trouble?
right? That's what I'm talking about.
That's CPS case.
Well, a lot of those times those do go intermingling, and a lot of times I see those children in CPS cases who have trouble with the law in the criminal side, and those, and again, I come from a family of educators. That's part of working with your school districts, part of working with your prosecutors, that's part of working with your defense attorneys, that's part of working with everyone to try to make sure that those young people are not reoffending, because we're spending taxpayer money on them, not just in the criminal courts, not just even in the civil courts. We're spending our taxpayer money on them in our school districts. One of the lines my dad used to use is I want to make them taxpayers instead of tax users, and that's real important. We want to make people productive citizens.
I'm thinking of cases also where if you judge and rule for them, may ruin their career later on.
Right. We want to make sure that they're productive members of our society, and we want to give them the best shot we can, while there's some consequences to their behavior.
Yes.
That's okay. Okay. So letter of the law versus spirit of the law when it comes to juvenile cases, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
So
the question was for him and for him.
okay, we're running for different races. Those two are.
Ask him that question.
Okay, so I was the juvenile prosecutor here in Tom Green County for 5.5 years. The juvenile system is set up to try and rehabilitate children. We've got a juvenile probation department. Dusty's worked for him for years and years. I worked hand in hand with Dusty. And the whole goal of that department is to try and rehabilitate children and keep them off the path of ending up in the courts that the rest of us are going to be serving on later. Right now, the juvenile system is handled in the district attorney's office and in district court, and that's by agreement of the local judges. So unless something changes, he or I, whoever gets the spot, will not be dealing with it. A lot of other jurisdictions, the county courts handle them. As far as the spirit of the law, the spirit's going to come into those juvenile probation departments, and what do they see in that kid, and what do they think? And most of the time, they're the ones that make recommendations to the judge sitting on that court saying, here's what we think should happen. And as prosecutors, defense attorneys, judges, we give them a pretty good listen because they're the ones that it's their job to rehabilitate those children, to get them the services and programs they need to succeed.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we have 2 questions to the county judges. So I'll read the first one and we'll run down the 4, and then I'll read the second one and we'll go back up the line, okay? What is your stance on controlled burns?
It's all going to depend on relative humidity, how much rain we have. All for it if it's safe. We need to be in contact with our volunteer fire departments out in the communities to make sure that it is a good time for it and it is done properly. So it's fine with me. I have nothing against controlled burns as long as it's done in a safe manner.
I think the bias on controlled burns from the current commissioner's court is to allow it unless there's a safety issue. And, you know, the communication with each of the commissioners from the citizens, things like that. But my bias would be to allow it unless there's a safety issue, which there mostly, a lot of times there is a safety issue with it. You know, we don't want to have another 2011 Wildcat fire, right? So look at that. But that's my thought on that. Is anyone going to ask about broadband internet?
A controlled burn could burn down broadband internet access. So, I'm just saying, I don't know, but controlled burns, they're absolutely, they're important. Farmers and ranchers need them, they use them. They have to be done in a safe way. I questioned, and I should have stood up and questioned it during the Commissioners Court meeting 2-3 weeks ago. But it's dry around here. I think we all know that. And they said, I think we need a burn ban. And they said, okay. And this was on Tuesday morning. And they said, okay, well, let's put the burn ban in on Friday. And I'm going, well, okay. And I should have said something and I didn't. Well, that afternoon, I don't know, but half of the state park out there was on fire. Well, I think every one of us kind of drove back going, geez, that's, and what was it last week? Bastrop, Texas? Lit on fire again, okay? That was a controlled burn. So are they important? Absolutely, okay? Do we need them? Do those farmers and ranchers use them? Landowners use them? Of course they do. Do they have to be maintained and do they have to be done safely? Absolutely. So that's where I stand.
I think everyone's already said it. They're necessary. We have to have those. They have to be done in a controlled burn fashion, and they have to be done in a safe and effective manner. I think Bastrop is a good example. That was a controlled burn, and apparently they didn't have the proper safety procedures in place, and so we need to make sure as those individuals that are making that decision that we absolutely have the right controls in place.
Okay, second question for our county judges. What experience do you have in emergency management?
I would say that my experience is really on the ground level, frontline person type of experience. 10 years on the San Angelo Police Department, 10 years as a Texas Highway Patrol trooper. I've been the frontline person from time to time in emergency management situations, responded to emergencies. I have been, particularly with the DPS, I have been assigned to hurricane duty. I've done hurricane duty. I've also been involved in flood situations where we're having to rescue people. Some of my time as a DPS trooper was in the Houston area, and you may know that Houston floods frequently. And so I would say my experience is primarily on the front lines and as a support, saving people's lives one-on-one.
You may ask, how can a jeweler handle emergency management? Well, have a bride be without her ring 2 days before her wedding, and a stone falls out or something goes wrong. And I know that's not necessarily comparable, but in my business, what we have to do is I hammer to all of my employees, communication. Communication, communication. That is the absolute key to handle any kind of emergency. I don't care if it's my kids or if it's my business or our community. Okay? These commissioners have to communicate with one another. They have to communicate with the judge. The judge has to communicate with the operations director. And at the same time, everybody better be communicating with the finance department because we got to pay for everything. We have to have the money in place to pay for emergency management as well. So we have to have that backup sitting over there and making sure. Look, we live in West Texas, San Angelo, Christoval, Wall, Grape Creek. We have some strange events that hit us, okay? Snowstorms are apparently a thing now. We have fires, we have tornadoes, we have all kinds of things out here, okay? Floods, droughts. We have to make sure that we have the management in place to make sure that we have what we need when we need it, and we have to make sure someone's at the helm to make sure everyone else is communicating properly to get through it.
I've never, ever made a wedding ring. So I hadn't had that problem. But emergency management, I mean, if you're in a B-52 and you lost 3 engines on one side and you got to land the thing, that's pretty much where I've been as far as the pressure. I actually had an emergency at the airport once. I was flying a twin Cessna, and somehow I lost all electrical power, and I had to declare an emergency. I landed. It was the most beautiful landing in the world. I even got a standing ovation from the tower. But anyway, that's a pilot joke. But anyway, as far as the emergency management locally, I've probably been involved in just about every emergency here as a journalist. I've been out there on the front lines. I've gone in, I mean, the head of the river fire, I remember doing that one and getting in there and getting the story out. One of the things I remember seeing is the communication. The communication with the public is important in one of these things. And for example, I'll give you a very good example. When David Jones was brand new sheriff, a kid had shot his mother and lawyer up there off of March Road. And I remember that we were fighting all the news media people, and we want to be there for anything that happens. So I was there the entire night, it seemed like. But David Jones came up, and they were encouraging him to talk to the public, that we need to talk to the news media. So, getting KLST's camera over there, getting our stuff over there, and getting that information out that he was talking about, saying, hey, it's not like some crazy guy is running around Grave Creek is about to kill everybody. We have him contained and things like that. I think communication with the public is paramount in all these situations. You talk about the tornadoes that hit North San Angelo. People want to know, another thing people want to know, are my loved ones okay? So getting that information out. During COVID, the most important thing that I think our county and city government did was they got together and they started working together, primarily with the way communication is given to the public. Now, I think today it's kind of gone haywire with the number of cases every day. I think we've kind of tuned that out. But in the very beginning, we didn't know. We didn't know if you get COVID, are you going to die? Does anyone have COVID around me? If I go to HEB, am I going to catch it? We wanted to know who had it. And then we wanted to know, the other thing that happened was, and I actually got them to do this. I got the PIO from the city to start telling us, is this a PCR test or antigen test? I don't know if you all remember that. And we started splitting that up. But the more transparent you are with the public as a public official, the more trust you build. And for emergency management, from a county judge perspective, if you know what I'm thinking, I'm going to let you know what I'm thinking. All right, just like I think Steve Floyd did a really good job during COVID. There's a couple missteps, but my goodness, give the guy some mulligans, because that was like, we didn't know I was looking at it, I didn't know what to expect coming down the pike. And of course, then it got politicized, and then we started thinking that Veredis was just like Fauci, those kinds of things. But communication and transparency are the most important thing an emergency management leader can do for the citizens of Tom Green County.
Okay, thank you.
I think all four of us are going to say communication. We have to be in communication with Jerry Huffman, which is the joint personnel between the Tom Green County and City of San Angelo. He is an asset to this community based off of his knowledge. But let me tell you the experience that I've had with emergency management. We all remember the Bradford tornado in 2019 and Snowmageddon of 2020. Tornado in 2019, what was I doing? I was grabbing my chainsaw with Michael Looney, and I was going out and clearing roads, clearing driveways to allow the personnel to get in and out safely, and everybody getting out of their homes to tend to their loved ones that were elsewhere in the city. In the Snowmageddon, I was helping arrange water to dialysis centers because they were at the triage level, and what that means is it's life or death. People were coming in on a scheduled basis for their dialysis. And City of San Angelo, we already had the lack of water from the Paulan water contamination crisis. Then we were hit with a freeze, so everything went down. All of the tanks were drained. So those dialysis centers, they were calling me because I was in the nursing world at one point, and they knew I can help being on the city council. Arranging those water to those centers to where they did not have to reach that crisis level of you're going to live, you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to live. We stayed on top of it. So the county judge, you're going to have to be very proactive instead of reactive, being prepared for the worst case scenario. Chapter Code 418 gives the county judge the sole signatory power to declare disaster. You have to know what that means. You have to know who you're going to contact at the state level, at TDEM, the Texas Department of Emergency Management, because the funding coming down from those levels are going to be crucial to help fund the emergency time. It costs money. So we're all going to say communication, but being hands-on, boots on the ground, that's the kind of county judge I will be based on emergency management. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have 3 questions for county commissioners, and 3 questions times 6 people is a lot of time. So try and be as brief as possible. And we'll see, maybe we can skip one of these. We'll see. Anyway, experience is great and important. However, how do you plan on including residents in decisions made about our county?
All right, each week, Commissioners Court is held in Commissioners Court. So that's your first line. And everything that Commissioners Court does, they put online and try to make it transparent as possible. Problem is, it's usually passed out on an agenda, and it's just how the agenda goes, so if you're not there. The way to get out is get out in the community and actually talk to people one-on-one. Be out in Christoval, be out in Knickerbocker, be out in Dove Creek, be out in the area of the corner of San Angelo that wraps all the way to the courthouse. You go meet them face-to-face, you talk to them face-to-face. You have to use other issues, because face-to-face, I mean, there's nearly 30,000 people in our precinct that we'd have to be talking to. So you have meetings. You have a coffee house here in Christoval. You schedule, you tell them when you're going to be there, and you go to them. If somebody can't be there, have them pass you a note. Let them know that they need to be seen or you need to get with them. It's just as simple as a crisis management or disaster management. You communicate. You communicate with what's going on, and you let citizens of the constituents know, and you do it the same way.
That transparency is the issue too. I mean, when I get a phone call, which I get, 2 or 3 a day, and it's not just potholes, it's about something else, is like the dog next door or, easement situation or something. There's a whole lot of issues that, you get trained to deal with, and you deal with them. You don't not answer your phone, and you don't not go and check on the situation. And you go, I've spent hours and hours meeting with people in the park, picking up trash. In the early days of the deal, that there wasn't anybody, we didn't have a trash crew. We didn't have anybody picking up the trash. So we'd get a bunch of kids and we'd go out there and we'd clean it up after every weekend. And there was some monument of trash. But people knew that, you're taking care of the things. You're taking care of your community. And, I'm involved. You stay involved with it, whether it be church or we'd have these town meetings like here. We'd have the chamber meetings and always had people wanting to know these questions, and we'd come every time, me and the sheriff and everybody else would come, and we would deal with it and talk to them, and you come up with a game plan. And there's not anything that can't be fixed. It just may have to put your heads together. And with 26 elected officials and 400 employees, there's a way to fix it. So it's not a rocket science, but it takes effort and it takes a commitment to do the effort to finish the job. So it's just part of the job that we do. You're committed to it in the beginning.
I feel like it'd be a fairly common answer we're all going to say is communication. It's making ourselves available. It's being active in the community, figuring out how to communicate with the residents, whether it's face-to-face, like Dusty said, if it's social media, trying to figure out what works best for each of the residents that have concerns, just putting ourselves out there, making ourselves available, open ears, stay on track of what concerns are there, and just and keep that line of communication open.
Being an effective leader at any level, you need to know your community and your constituents. And there are players in each community. You know who to go to who knows the gossip, who knows what's going on. Those are your, I would call them my little deputies around the county. You call them, you give them the input and say, man, talk it up. And I'll be down there and get what your people are saying to you. You've got them in Christoval, you've got them in Knickerbocker, Dove Creek, in the areas of San Angelo. You got to know who your people are, know who to talk to, and know how to get those answers rounded up and be a true representative to those people.
Sir, you've had a question. Let's finish. Let the other people talk. Okay.
So one of the initiatives that I've already mentioned is changing the commissioner's court date so that it doesn't interfere with city council meetings. So maybe commissioner's court needs to be in the evening to get more people to interact. I'm also a huge fan of town halls. We need to meet people where they are, and that's all kinds of different places. While I would love to talk to people one-on-one, there's 30,000 people in our precinct. It's just impossible to go talk one-on-one to everybody. But we are all available through a phone call, through an email. I think one of the bigger problems then is getting people actually involved in politics. The transparency of our county and that kind of stuff really needs to be addressed. Maybe we need a public relations person for Tom Green County that can get information out to the public more efficiently, more effectively, more clearly, so that you want to be more involved with what we're doing up here. Thank you.
Thank you. If I remember the question correctly, it was about getting residents involved or hearing their, just that last part.
How do you plan on including residents in decisions made about our county?
Okay, thank you. I always try to be very specific and answer the questions that are asked, not give you a whole lot of fluff and political jargon. So this is similar to something that we talked about at the library last week. And it's basically three things: relationships, communication, and consistency. The relationships parts come from, I'm an educator by degree. My first degree is in education. And if you're a teacher, you know you can't get anywhere with your students if you don't really have a relationship with them. And it's the same with your constituents in your county. You must build relationships with people so that they know you really do care and you're not just out for a vote. All the things that we're involved in, the things that I've been involved in, I've been serving this county for my whole entire life in so many capacities. That's not going to change for me. That will be for the rest of my life. So you continue to build those relationships, the communication, some of the things that I threw out at the last forum. I was the first one to throw out the town hall idea. We may call it something new. We may want to call it community gatherings, but it's the same concept and consistent. You can't just have them here or there. Because it takes people a while to get into a routine and to learn to start coming to things, get it built in their brain and their schedule. So we would have these regularly, like in Christoval and different places throughout town, have precincts combined, locations that are easily accessible for everyone. Other things about the communication aspect too. I'm older. I look around the room. A lot of us in here, well, we got a really pretty good age. Thank y'all for being here tonight. This is so awesome. But I don't necessarily communicate the way someone else communicates. I'm not familiar with Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, but my daughter's sitting right there doing her phone thing right now. She could show us how all that works. We have to learn how to reach people and meet them where they are. And if that means that we're stepping out of our comfort zone and we're learning new skills and new technology, it's all about doing whatever it takes to reach the people that you're supposed to be serving.
Okay, thank you. And before you think that I'm just too mean for words, the candidates, I'm sure, will be lurking a while, and anybody who has a specific question or a specific follow-up can, accost their chosen candidate before they're able to leave the parking lot. So we have another commissioner question. Where's the mic? Lori, you got it? Okay. So thoughts on having a park attendant to take a fee for entry and help with people disposing of litter?
Okay, I'm assuming that question is geared towards Pew Park.
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay, here is an idea about that has been given to me by a resident of Christoval. And Sheriff, are you still here? Okay, this is not my idea, but I'm throwing it out there. It has been suggested, and there have been comments made that in times past, the sheriff's deputies would patrol those areas regularly, and that they would get out there and they would interact with the people that were utilizing the park, and that was a huge preventative measure, proactive policing, and they were building relationships at the same time. The complaint that I heard is that that's not happening anymore. I've heard stories that, well, I've heard stories. I don't know if they're true or not, so I'm just not going to share that. But I think, I don't know about park attendance, I don't know if that would be feasible or not, but man, that's a great idea. And with the changes that are coming with Pugh Park and the way that things are going to be set up, it might be something that actually could work. I'm very open-minded about things. I'm not the kind of person that, oh, well, this is how we've always done it. This is how we're going to continue to do it. Bring me your ideas. Let's explore them. Let's do the research. Let's see what we're allowed to do, because, we are a government and we do have those regulations that sometimes limit our creativity and ideas, but it's definitely something I think worth looking into. I always want to find out for sure if you can or you can't. I know there have been some things suggested. We can't do those things. So if I tell you something, you can know that I'm telling you that because I know this, or if I don't know, I'm going to do the research and find out. So park attendance, I don't know, but I would find out. It's an interesting concept.
Thank you.
I like the idea of park attendance. I've been to the park, the Nasworthy Marina quite often, and on the weekends every summer they have somebody out there, and it's $2 or $3 if you're a Christoval resident. If you buy the pass, it's like $20 for the whole summer. It's a fee that is not. It's not going to totally make it unfeasible for people to come, but it will deter some of the riffraff and shenanigans that go on down there so that the citizens of Christoval can actually enjoy our park again. I hate that we don't get to go because it's taken over by people from Midland or Odessa or other people that I just don't want my kids around. I have heard plenty of those stories that go on down there too, and one of my other initiatives is getting more sheriff's deputies so it can be patrolled more. But I think the park attendant down there is one excellent solution. The problem you're going to run into with the park attendant is how do you pay for the park attendant? Are your taxes going to go up to pay for it? So we need to find some other sources of revenue from the park. And I have some ideas on that too. But really and truly, this needs to be a community. There needs to be a community board put in place because it's a community park, and the people of the community are the ones that it's going to most affect.
Having an attendant sounds like a great idea, and I love it, but in practicality, I don't know if we could get somebody. I mean, look at everybody in town's hiring right now. Nobody's got enough labor. Yeah, there needs to be a remedy, and I think that remedy is this community taking pride in what they have and being vigilant about, if something looks out of place down there, even though there's not a deputy patrolling, report it. Report it to the sheriff's office, holler at the constable, but we got to take pride in what we have because it's something to be very proud of, and just we'll self-enforce the laws down there. Thank you.
If it involves a new paid position, then I'm no fan of it. I don't have much interest in expanding anymore and costing the taxpayers any more money. If it's a volunteer position, then I'm all for it. However that gets filled, it'd be something we'll have to work on and figure out. I think it's more of a community policing need, and that's just something that we're going to have to figure out. How does the community come together in order to do that?
This has been researched real heavily. There's some things we can and can't do because of state law. The biggest deal is that we're not allowed to, as a county, to charge a gate admission to a park. We're not a state park, and we're not a Parks and Wildlife Park, so we can't allow that. But we can charge for use of the facilities, like the boat ramp or you want to use pavilion or even the baseball fields, whatever you want to use, or you want to use a picnic area, or you want to use a campground. We can charge for that and that's kind of like an admission fee that we could charge at the gate. And so they would come in and they pay their $10 or $5 or $2 to use the picnic area or the swing area, whatever was charged for those areas. And that money could be applied to the cleanup, and we'd spend a lot of money on cleanup. It's for all 4 parks in Tom Green County, we have about a $65,000 contract, just plus our own picnic guys, our park crew. So really, it's expensive, but it's a big job too. And it's when we're getting this thing fixed up, we're going to have a chance to gate it and do that kind of thing. Probably just at this park, because the other parks are don't have that kind of a situation. But it can be done. Now a gatekeeper, like the state park, they use retired individuals. We provide them a RV hookup, and they stay the summer. They come in and Memorial Day and leave Labor Day, and they take care of running up down the deal, making sure people got water, make sure they got hookups, make sure they got everything done, and make sure they pick up their trash. That's the biggest thing to me in the whole thing is it's a trash that whether they come from Midland, Odessa, or Goodfellow, or San Angelo, or Christoval, people will not take 3 steps to throw a trash into a barrel. And we've got tons of barrels. And I don't understand it. I've watched them for hours and hours, and I can't figure it out. But I wasn't raised that way. But that's what we're up against. So it's going to be a chore. It's a big deal.
I think this was brought up to pretty much all of us at some point when we were deciding to run about what to do with the park once it's completed. That's a gift from God to Precinct 4, and my thoughts on it is anybody that lives in Precinct 4 Tom Green County should never have to pay a fee to get in that park unless, we can look at something else. If, like we're talking about coming together and having some sort of meeting and town meetings and getting together and talking about this, that's something we need to come together and talk about. If we want people from outside that come in and charge a fee, we'd have to get it to where it's legal to do that. But putting up a gate, it's a pretty porous road going up that road on Toenail Trail. So, putting up a gate, we ran around in high school, getting down from the school to the old football field. I have been told, but this one thing I'm not really liking, but again, this is going to the people that several people have said each year, let's add $3 to our tax bill to pay for us getting in the park. Well, $3 more sounds like more tax, and you already know my feelings on more property taxes or tax to use public things, especially when that is a gift to y'all that we need to keep maintained. Now, out of town, I've also heard the same story about the sheriff's department. We used to have satellite offices here, but the satellite offices were because somebody rented a house out here and was a sheriff's deputy, and they worked. And this was kind of the area they worked. It was pretty obvious. We talked about, it's been brought up that there was an old satellite office in what used to be the Golden Years Nursing Home. That's an idea, but that's also, we've got to figure out how to budget that to have somebody, because they told me as sheriff's deputies, they would drive in there. They would build a relationship, and they'd say, hey, look, get your trash up. There's a trash can 10 feet from you. Put it up, or we're going to get rid of you. But on anything being charged for residents of Precinct 4 or Tom Green County, that's y'all's gift from God, and it's not going to happen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have one last question, and we have 2 minutes to answer it. And it's to Lupe. And it says, it says, what experience do you have with the county, and what made you want to apply?
No, I haven't worked for the county. I've always worked with the state and federal programs where I did extensive internal monitoring. I've done some federal audits for a program out of state. I did a few of those a few years ago. And the reason I am wanting to run is because I was the chairwoman for the Republican National Hispanic Assembly for the last 2.5 years, where I was introduced more to the politics. And with RNHA, our mission was to have Hispanics get more involved in the electoral process. So that was our mission. That was our goal. So I just decided that since my term was up, I wanted to continue to serve the community, and this is the way that I want to serve the community. Even though I haven't worked for the county, but I do feel like I am very well qualified. I'm capable of learning quickly to get up to speed. I know there's great support and training and conferences that you can go to, and I know I have great support. But that's why I'm wanting to run right now.
Okay, thank you. We have about a minute, but we can let this run over a tiny bit because this is the second question to the County Court of Law judges. How do you plan to catch up the huge backlog caused by COVID-19?
Sure.
So, how do I plan to catch up the backlog? About 80% of what that court does is criminal, and that's the majority of the cases. What gets lawyers off high center, the litigators on these cases, is when they have a deadline. And for us, that means a trial date. If you really want lawyers to work on their case, take a hard look at it, get to work, because, hey, next week you've got a jury trial coming up. That's what it takes, more jury trials. Right now, we've got about a setting a month. I'm figuring we're probably going to need to double that and keep it up for a couple of years till we work through the backlog.
So a similar answer is the fact that you need to push cases. You need to push them to trial. But you also need to push, it's not just a criminal case. It's not just, and I will tell you right now, those courts handle a large number of civil matters. You're talking about well over, in the numbers that we have, there are well over 100 cases a month that are civil matters. And those are no less important to you, especially when you're in front of that judge. But the way you're going to get the backlog taken care of, our judges have worked so tirelessly. All of our judges, our district judges, our county courts at law, our justices of the peace, and our municipal court judges have worked as hard as they possibly can to try to tamp down that backlog that COVID created. And it's simply just going to be a matter of getting to work and being available and being ready to take care of the things that need to be taken care of, and to be in that court and to know when cases can be pushed and how they should be pushed. And that does come from experience in handling all of them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we are down to the last, actually we have 13 minutes, but we'll stretch to let all 14 people speak. This is your last hurrah. Take a breath. Kristen is going to be out here somewhere where you can see her. So, okay, everybody can see her from there?
Oh, yeah.
So you'll know when you're 30 seconds and 10 seconds. Yes, this is a 1 minute
Okay.
time. What? Oh, okay, thank you. This is a 1 minute time limit. And so go.
Okay. In addition to what I just said, I am also a realtor as of October 2021. So if you've ever taken any real estate courses, you know that is very intense. So I deal with real estate, which I know that's one of the departments there. Also, I've worked in nonprofits for 25 plus years. So like I mentioned, I've done a lot of internal monitoring, federal audits, which I feel I'm very well qualified and capable of learning this position. As I mentioned, I was the RNHA chairwoman for the last 2.5 years, and I want to continue to serve my community. I want to give back. So I do have extensive public interaction with working in nonprofits. We had to coordinate with community agencies to help families who were in need. So we did that. And I want to serve with the servant's heart. I want to lead with the passion that I have to continue to serve my community. Because my community has always been there for me when I needed them. So that's my passion. And like I mentioned, I am more than willing and capable of learning this position. And I appreciate your support and your vote. And if you go lupegomez4clerk.com, you can read more about me. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Christine Bando. Once again, I come with knowledge. I come with experience. The day that I was appointed, 1 year from today, I hit the ground running and I haven't stopped since. You have everything about me, it's for you. We are a public servant. This is our office. We serve you and anybody in this county. I have in-depth knowledge with every single section in this office, and I would continue to do that should you elect me on March 1st, 2022, or early voting on Valentine's Day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, I'm Andrew Graves, and I'm asking for your vote for County Court at Law number 2. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to come see you and see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of friends in the audience, as we all do. And I want to tell you that an informed voter is the best voter, and I'm glad that you're here for that. This is entirely about experience. This court, this job, it's about experience, it's about qualifications. What's going to happen to you when you go in front of that judge? And you need to make sure that you have confidence that that person has the experience and the qualifications for the job. And I'm the candidate who has the qualifications. I'm the candidate who has the most experience. I have the most criminal experience because I've handled prosecution in Fort Worth, Texas, but I've also been a defense attorney as well. I've handled all the things that this court handles on a variety of matters. And I've done it in over 30 counties throughout the state of Texas and in front of over 100 different judges at different levels. Those are the reasons why the San Angelo Police Officers PAC endorsed me. And that's why I'm asking for your endorsement and your vote on Election Day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's been a while, but my name is Leland Lacey. And when I started out on this journey of candidacy, I had people ask me, well, why are you running for this? Why do you want it? And I tell them, pretty simple, it's because I care. I care about what all of you have, the integrity that you have in the courts, whether or not you trust them. I care about the people in this county enough that I've been a prosecutor here for 15 years. And I could have gone into private practice and probably made a lot more money, but I like what I do. I like knowing I serve the public. I like knowing that whenever I make a decision at work, it's to do the right thing. I'm just asking to continue serving you and doing the right thing. Thank you.
Thank y'all again for this opportunity. Like I said in the beginning, I have a servant's heart, always have been. That is why I ran in 2016 for city council, and that is why I'm running for county judge today. I want to be able to serve my community at a higher capacity, and I believe the knowledge base and the qualifications that I have, I will be the most qualified candidate to do so based off the experience for the last 6 years. I look forward to serving you. If you have any questions, if I'm in office, I will be accessible and I will be a facilitator for any kind of solution that needs to happen. If you have a problem, feel free to come to me, your commissioners. We're going to make it happen. Thank you. So March 1st, early voting. You've heard it multiple times. Valentine's Day through February 25th. Lane Carter for county judge.
I went to Texas A&M, went right into the Air Force, flew combat in B-52s, came back to Laughlin at Del Rio, flew 2 tours there with a B-52 tour in between training people. I've dealt with a lot of situations in the military. I have a lot of experience. And what I saw over the last year primarily, maybe year and a half, I wasn't even running for this position 3 months ago, maybe it was 4 months ago. Time keeps marching. But I saw our country going down the tubes. And if people like me don't stand up, or people like these guys, if we don't stand up and stop some of this, we're not gonna have a country left. And I didn't want to sit there as a journalist and write about my country going down the tubes. I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to get in the ring. I wanted to get in the fight. And that's why I'm running for county judge. I think the county judge position can be used as an instrument to do some great things here in Tom Green County. One of the things I've seen across all 3 governments is this practice of keeping the tax rate the same while our property values go up and up and up. And what I want to do is I want to look at that and I want to work with the other commissioners to try to keep that every year, try to lower that tax rate just a little bit more. At the same time, I think we can take care of a lot of the problems we have here just by counting every penny and being very frugal. Thank you.
tell you a quick 60-second story, but when I originally filed to run for office, I filed to run for County Commissioner Precinct 4, which would have made me number 7 over here. I live in Precinct 4, but I live in San Angelo. I'm not from Christoval. So I wanted to call a few of my Christoval friends and say, okay, meet me out here at Pew Park and show me what's wrong. Walk me around, and they did. Okay? I got out of the car, they got out of the car, and before I even got my politician's handshake to them, they said, well, come here, and they just started going. And they started showing me this. And eventually we made our way up to the new baseball field. And I was standing there, and we walked across this baseball field, and they're still putting the fence around it, and I'm looking up on top of this mountain, or this hill, and you can see the sunset for miles, and I'm going, who in the world did this? And they looked right at me, and they said, we did. Y'all have a unique community. Y'all don't ask, give me. Y'all say, get out of my way and let me show you what we can do as a community. And that is a unique thing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Todd.
No, it's fine.
Again, I'm Tommy Usry, your candidate for Tom Green County Judge. We have a unique election cycle this time. Typically, in Tom Green County, this judge has come from the ranks of the former county commissioners. So they've served some time on the county commission. They're familiar with what the issues have been. They're familiar with the processes, and they're familiar with their precinct. You don't have that this time. You have a judge who is stepping down after serving our community for many years now, and you have 4 people who are going to be new at being a county judge. I think that calls for whoever your next county judge is to be the most experienced person that can go in and begin doing work immediately. We're all going to have, whether Mr. Carter, Mr. Hyde, or Mr. Cole, whether it's me, we're all going to have a learning curve to some extent. I will not have a learning curve when it comes to the legal issues. The 40% of that job that the county judge does is legal, judicial. I'll be able to walk in, as I've said, and begin doing that work day one.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's good to be in Christoval, like I said before. I'm your hometown candidate. I'm not going to say that Precinct 4 literally saved my life. Maybe it did. But it's made me the person I am today. I'm a happy person. I'm fairly successful. I can pay my bills and have a little bit left over. And it's because of people that in this community and in Precinct 4 that raised me the right way. Sometimes they got on to me pretty hard. But it's now my chance to give back and serve. I serve in a job that serves all of Tom Green County and each county that touches Tom Green County. But this job is 100 times bigger to me, and it's a job that I want to serve y'all full-time, 24/7, 7 days a week for the next 4 years. So I hope you vote for me. My name is Dustin Barton, your hometown candidate.
Thank you, Dustin. A couple of things just came up. One of them is that it's going to be critical that the new commissioner, the judge, has the commissioner's court behind him with experience. It's a tough job. It is a learning curve. And this is a critical time for this learning curve to have an experienced commissioner's court unified and working with him to bring him down the line. I think that's going to be real critical this time. And the second thing is that I mentioned the water situation. We have a shot. We have one chance to get this money. It's ARPA money, American Recovery Act. I don't know. I'm not the one that lets it go. It's a committee. But it's got enough money to give the money that we can fix the water district and the water situation without it collapsing and causing a catastrophic event in Christoval. And we don't want that. Nobody wants to have it run out of water. So I tell you, it's going to be a lot of work, but I'm geared up for it. I'm already got it halfway down the road, so we're going to make it. But it's just going to, I need y'all's help now to make sure. All right.
Thank you.
We are at a very important time in the life of the Republic of the United States. We are a republic, not a democracy. There are significant players within this country and outside of this country that are trying to destroy the way of life we currently have. Have you heard of the Great Reset that has been underway for years from the Davos crowd and the World Economic Forum? It is not conspiracy theory, it is conspiracy fact. Please look into it. The current administration is also pushing it through their Build Back Better plan. Why am I bringing this up at this forum? It will affect all of us in the way of life we have been afforded by the founders of this country. It has a desire to destroy what so many have worked hard for. It will take over all aspects of banking and commerce through public-private partnerships. Once again, the county officials, which include the sheriff, the county judge, and the commissioner's court, is the last line of defense for the citizens of Tom Green County. A vote for Derek Garnett is a vote for standing against what is coming our way.
Thank you.
I'm not one to brag on myself, but in this setting, you kind of have to. Take a look up here, right here, and up the hill. Look what we've accomplished with this school district. I mean, if any of y'all were around 15 years ago and look at it then and look at it now, what it has grown into, I'm proud to be a part of that team that got that accomplished. I look forward to being part of a team with the county to move us onward and upward and to some great things. We have no idea what's coming our way. Vote Sean Nanny in the Republican primary, and don't worry about broadband internet.
I've heard a few candidates say that they're going to get into this position and they're going to do the hard work to do the job. Guys, it's going to take a whole lot more than hard work to address the issues that are facing voters right now and to fix these problems. It's going to take foresight. It's going to take dedication. It's going to take enthusiasm. It's going to take out-of-the-box thinking. And most importantly, it's going to take teamwork to get it done. I am the well-rounded candidate that can do all of these things and work hard for you. My name is Coco Simpson, and I'm asking for your vote for Precinct 4 candidate commissioner, County Commissioner. CocoSimpson.com is where you can find out more. And above all, please don't forget to vote.
Every one of us is replaceable. No one has experience at a job until they do. I am here for you. 3 R's is my platform: revenue, roads, and resources. I want to help us grow our revenue creatively. I want to help us maintain our roads efficiently, and I want to help us maximize our resources effectively. I will be your full-time, all the time, all for you commissioner. I am the only candidate running in the county to be endorsed by our rattlesnake hat-wearing former mayor of San Angelo, even though I believe he's been asked by several. I am at a place in my life where I could do a lot of things with my time. My children, my grandchildren, my horses. I have a passion for this. I believe God gives us those passions, and he wants us to use them for him. I'm here to serve you, and I hope that you would give me the honor of voting me as your next commissioner for Precinct 4. Thank you.
Okay, we made it, and we're only 2 minutes over. So not bad for a 14-person candidate forum.